Hello there.
Hello.
What's up, my peeps?
Hello. Hi, Greg.
Hello, Larry.
How you guys doing?
Good evening. Good, thank you.
Hi all.
Hello.
Good evening. Evening, everyone.
Hi, Don.
Good evening.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Charles.
How you doing?
Terry, Charles, John. Where's our Tennessee guy?
Sounds like the washing machine is running.
Yeah. I better go check it. Better go catch it. Is that how the joke goes? I've got 6 o'clock. Shall we get this rolling?
Sounds good.
If Mr. Roberts were here, he'd say yes.
You would. Right. So it's my honor to call the Bear Valley Springs Community Services District meeting for March 11th to order at 6 o'clock. We'll start with a roll call attendance. Christy, please.
Director Grace,
Here.
Director Jensen,
Here.
Director Quinn,
Here.
Vice President Roberts. I don't see him yet. President Han.
I'm here. Thank you, Christy. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Our next item is to have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear such motion?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
May I have a second?
Second.
We got a motion by Terry, second by Charles. Roll call vote. Christy, please.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
and President Han.
Aye as well. Motion carries 4-0. Public comments on non-agenda items. Back to you, Christy.
Members of the public may address the board on matters not listed on this agenda. The board cannot take action on any item that is not on the agenda. The board or staff may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed, or may ask questions for clarification. These items may also be referred to staff or scheduled on a future agenda. There will be a separate opportunity for public comment for each item on the agenda. Okay, I did not receive any emails today, so we do have, looks like one hand. Jiva.
Hello, everyone.
Jiva?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to thank you all for that strategic planning committee. It was very informative. I sent you an email, Bill, and I had a few questions on there. I apologize if I missed your response or not. So anyway, it was a great thing that Patrick did to facilitate during that meeting. It seemed like a worthwhile thing. So, and thank you for sharing it with us. So one of the questions was, what was meant, and I thought I heard these words, but I wasn't sure, when Patrick and you guys were talking about social media folks as gadflies or frequent flyers. I didn't understand what those words were used to represent the community that's only on social media, maybe making various comments that may not be seen as constructive or contributory to our environment. I wasn't sure if I misunderstood what was being said. I thought I'd ask about that. And then I understand, Bill, as you've said, that we have 2 sites, official website for the BVCSD and Facebook. So since a lot of people communicate on Nextdoor, because some of us don't like Facebook for various reasons, is there a chance that you would be able to have postings and chats on the CSD website? That was one of the questions I asked, and I didn't know if you could speak to that. And then I was wondering on the videos that get posted that are really great for people to come back and look at on the CSD website, is if you could add the number of views features, and that way you can see the community as they have opportunity is coming to look at this stuff, because a lot of times it's said the community's not involved in that, but you know, people are working and families and stuff. So I didn't know if that was a feature you'd be able to add, like on YouTube, you know, when you could see how many times this video was viewed. So I appreciate that. If you could speak to any of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiva.
And I have no more hands.
All right. I don't particularly have any answers at the moment, Jiva, but we can, I did write some of that stuff down, so we can address that.
Thank you.
6, consent calendar. Christy, please.
Consent items are considered routine and are intended to be acted upon in one motion without discussion. During this portion of the meeting, the consent calendar will be read aloud. Prior to approval, the president will give the board, staff, and public the opportunity to pull any item for discussion. The remaining calendar will be acted upon. Any pulled items will then be heard and acted upon individually. A, approve minutes of the February 11, 2021 regular board meeting. B, accept register of warrants for February 2021. C, accept February 2021 committee report.
Thank you, Christy. Would any members of staff like to pull an item? Would any members of the board like to pull an item? I don't see any hands in the public. I'm going to say the public doesn't want anything pulled. I'll entertain a motion to approve these items.
Honorable President, I'll move to approve the minutes of the February 11th, 2021 regular board meeting, accept the register of warrants for February 2021, and accept February 2021 committee report.
I second that.
A motion by John, second by Charles. Christy, roll call vote, please.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
President Han.
I also vote aye. That motion carries 4-0. Item number 7, disclosures by board of directors. Christy, if you would.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get my board package up. 1 second.
Just fix my lighting here. Trying to look good, you know, it's camera.
Try this
My
again.
makeup artist is on strike.
Here we go. Sorry about that, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, number 7, disclosures by the board of directors. Board members are asked to disclose any outside communications with individuals and organizations that have an action item on this agenda that pertains directly to them or their specific personal or private interests, and which communication is not included or disclosed in the agenda package, so that all interested persons have an equal opportunity to express and represent their interests.
If there are any disclosures by any members of the board, please talk now. Hearing none. Item 8, action items. Item A, appoint citizen volunteers to standing committees of the board. Christy, please.
Mr. President, members of the board, the district has established standing committees to serve as advisory bodies to the board of directors. The purpose is to review and make recommendations on matters assigned to them by the board. Committees are made up of 2 board members and up to 3 volunteers from the community. They are appointed by the board for a 2-year term or until a successor is named. Volunteers must be residents and registered voters in the community. Let me get them up here. Okay, these volunteers listed here have indicated their willingness to serve on 1 or more district committees. They have all been invited here to address the board or answer any questions you might have. And then the recommendation is, after we've heard from the volunteers, that the board should consider and make a motion for each committee separately. And we do have a couple of volunteers that have volunteered to serve on more than 1 committee or have indicated an interest in more than 1. And with that, back to you.
Great, thank you, Christy. So let's take them all one at a time, just at the order of the agenda. So we'll talk about the administration committee. Do my honorable fellow board members have some volunteers to appoint for the administration committee?
It looks like we have Ms. Beverly Leiden who applied for it. Is she here today?
I do not see her on the list. And then we have Judith Cagle and Richard Bissell, who have volunteered for any open committee. They are both here. So I don't know if you want to hear from the potential volunteers, if you have a hand up, or you want to put your hand up and talk about the administration committee. Judith Cagle. Go ahead, Judith.
Good evening. This is Judith Cagle, and I have an interest in both administration and finance, but I am open to anywhere that you think my skills would best serve a purpose. You have questions for me, or I don't know if you saw my request for consideration.
I took a look at your request and your resume, and I found it quite substantial, and I think you'd be a welcome member of that committee.
I would be happy to be a part of administration.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Charles. And I agree with that. She's on my list under admin committee as well. Anybody else have questions for Judith?
Honorable President, I would just ask, Ms. Cagle had indicated she would have interest in finance. I'm not sure if there are any parliamentary rules, or I would also ask her if she feels she has the time or the interest to devote to both.
I would be happy to serve in any capacity that you feel you need me.
Even on more than 1 committee at a time, Judith?
I believe so. The timing of the meetings would not conflict, correct?
Correct. They would not happen at the same time.
Then I'd be happy to serve.
That is very awesome, Judith. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have Richard Bissell has his hand up. Richard?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good, great. Last month I tried to address the board with a question, and I wasn't able to figure out how to do that. But yes, I'm relatively new, moving in as a full-time resident in October. I'm a former bank, commercial bank lender, and I'm willing, I have the time and the willingness to serve on any committee where there might be a need. Obviously, it appears like the Administration and Finance Committee are the ones that have the fewest volunteers to serve on. And as previously stated, I have the time and the willingness to serve on any committee where there's a need. I expect, I hope to live here, until the next move, which will probably be the Veterans Cemetery. So I want to learn, been only here 4 months, want to learn all about how this works, and more than happy to, try to add some value. So I'd be willing to serve on the Administration Committee and the Finance Committee, for example, because they appear to be the ones that are lacking some members. So wherever the board has some need, I'm willing to serve on one or more committees.
Richard, thank you for that willingness.
Happy to entertain any questions.
Appreciate that. That's okay. Thank you for your service to this country and for your willingness to serve on the committees. Do you have questions for Richard?
Don't.
All right. Okay. Anyone ready to make appointments for the admin or finance? We can do either one, I guess.
Honorable President, I just have a question. I need some guidance. It looks like, are we limited to 3 per committee, or?
Yeah, there's the committee size is limited by policy. So there's 2 board members and 3 members of the public on each committee. If you would like to nominate alternates in case someone has to drop out, I'm sure we could accommodate that.
Mr. President, I do have 2 more hands up.
Great.
Okay. Kathy Carey.
Hi, Kathy.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's wonderful to see people wanting to participate in the CSD. That is just terrific. I thought that you were ready to move on to infrastructure, but obviously go ahead and proceed with your 2 administration and finance first, and then I'll speak.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, Kathy, re-raise your hand when the time comes.
Yeah, let's do go in order. We'll do admin first. So folks in the audience interested in admin committee, we'll take those.
Okay. I've got Leanna Bowman, and then, well, I've got 3 of them here. So, Leanna?
Hi there. I have been on the finance committee for 2 years. I'm happy to stay on that committee if you would like me to do.
Yeah.
I did not send a whole resume and all that this time. I figured you already had that and kind of knew me. The new board members, I worked with the CSD on that the fire fuel reduction grant. And that's my background is grants in higher ed and other places like the CSD. Do you have questions for me?
Questions for Leanna? Don't hear any, but Leanna, thank you for your wonderful work on that committee. You're definitely on my list to be on finance committee again.
Thank you.
I guess I have a point of order question for Christy. My feeling is that probably the chairperson of each individual committee should be the main person to nominate members. Offhand, I do not recall who the chairman of the administration committee is, but I would like to see it fall to the chairman in each case.
Okay, I would have to look that up. I don't have it.
I believe that's me.
I think that's true, Charles. I think, yeah, that's right. This is not a mandatory thing. I think anyone can appoint people or make the motion, but as a point of procedure, that'd be appropriate, I think, for the chair of each committee to do so. Thanks, Terry.
Okay, I have two more hands.
We'll have to, maybe the vice chair for the committee that Steve chairs, which I can figure out that too in a second here.
And that's
I'm here.
myself.
There is
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm here.
Oh,
Greg.
there you are. I got you, Steve. I didn't see you come in. Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
I'm here.
You almost had me in the hot seat, Steve.
You go ahead, John.
So we're going to stay with admin for the time being.
Yeah, let's stick with admin. Charles, are you ready to make some appointments?
I am.
Great.
Based on the interest and the experience of both people that have expressed interest, I would nominate Judith Cagle and Richard Bissell for the administration committee.
You have room for Beverly Lydon too.
Oh, for a third. Yes. She's not here though can we do that anyway with her?
Yes.
In absentia?
She did submit her interest to be on, and she's not required to attend the meeting.
Okay, excellent. And then I'd also nominate Ms. Beverly Lydon as well for the committee.
Right. So I hear appointments for Beverly Lydon, Judith Cagle, and Richard Bissell for the administration committee. A second might be in order, but I don't think
I
it's
second
required.
that. I second, sure.
So Steve seconds that. Let's have a roll call vote and then get these three people on the admin committee.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye, that vote carries 5-0. All right, let's move to the, shoot, here it is up here, right? Finance Committee. Let's go.
Honorable President, I would move the Board of Directors appoint Leanna Bowman, Gary Truelove, and Judith Cagle, and also as an alternate, Mr. Richard Bissell, to the Finance Committee until March 2021 or until a successor is named.
Thank you, Director Grace.
Point of order again. This is a 2-year appointment, so it should be till March of 2023.
That's a great point. Thank you, sir.
Good clarification, Terry.
Oops, sorry.
And I will
That's
second.
my typo there. Okay, I do have two hands. Richard, go ahead.
I only raised my hand earlier because I thought you were asking. Anyway, no, I'm that's fine. Thank you. I have no further comments.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Richard. Maybe a second for John's motion.
I second.
Motion by John, second by Terry. Christie, let's do a roll call vote for the three members, Leanna Bowman, Gary Truelove, and Judith Cagle, and an alternate, Richard Bissell, for the Finance Committee.
Okay, did you want to hear from Mr. Truelove? He has his
Oh,
hand
he
up.
does have his hand up too. Go, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. I'm going to have to temporarily promote him to a panelist so he can speak.
You just got a battlefield promotion, Gary.
Okay. Mr. Truelove?
Yes, thank you for inviting me to attend your meeting. And yeah, I'd love to serve in finance or any place else you need help. I'm officially retired, but we own a bookkeeping, payroll, and tax company in Lancaster and Tehachapi. So I'll kind of oversee that with my wife and my daughter. So, but yes, I'm extremely flexible schedule. I can move around whatever I need to do.
Thank you very much for that. All right, so excellent. We're at the point of a second for the nomination for appointments.
We have a second already. Me.
Terry Quinn, second that. Christie, roll call vote for Finance Committee appointees, please.
Director Grace?
Aye.
Director Jensen?
Aye.
Director Quinn?
Aye.
Vice President Roberts?
Aye.
President Han.
Aye as well. That's motion carries 5-0. Infrastructure. Do we hear some? I think Kathy Carey will probably want to chime back in. And anyone else that would like to talk about their skills for the infrastructure committee?
Okay. Kathy Carey.
Hello again.
Hello.
Okay, as a 34-year resident of Bear Valley Springs and a past infrastructure and finance committee member, I would very much like to get back onto the infrastructure committee this year and next year. You know, both personally and professionally, we have a very invested interest in Bear Valley, and I just feel like I could be a benefit to the committee. So I would like to be considered again.
Thank you, Kathy. Board member questions for Ms. Carey? Hearing none, let's move on. Paul Paparella has his hand up as well.
Hey, Mr. Paparella.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for listening to me. My name is Paul Paparella. My wife and I moved here to Bear Valley last summer. I joined the DPAC in the fall, and I am interested in the infrastructure committee. I am a civil engineer specializing in water and wastewater infrastructure. I believe you've got my resume, and I've been in the infrastructure engineering business for 38 years. And the water system here in particular is quite fascinating to me as I drive around, and I probably have driven by most of the tanks already. So happy to take any questions, and would be happy to serve on the committee.
Thank you, Paul. Questions for Paul from the board? Hearing none. Next hand up I see is Jiva Freevert.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you. I've been a resident over 16 years, recently retired. I have a strong technical background, even though it's in aerospace. Everything in aerospace, you got to jump and learn and deal with everything new. So I think I'm up to the task to be able to contribute significantly to infrastructure. And I appreciate that opportunity. And if you have any questions, go ahead.
Thank you, Jiva. Questions for Jiva from the board?
I have a question, Jiva. I see you're listed under both infrastructure and public safety. Are you, like some of the other nice folks above, willing to serve on more than one committee?
Yes, I am happy to do that. I'm very interested in the public safety also. Attended some of those DPAC meetings and other things as we've had to deal with a lot of our bark beetle issues and trying to be involved in that, whether I'm on a committee or not, you know, of what we can do to improve our forestation around here and safety and whatnot. So yes, thank you for that question.
Thank you.
I don't hear any other questions. This is a committee that's chaired by Steve. Steve, are you ready to make appointments for this committee?
I am. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank everybody that has put their names in. I see that Beverly Leiden and Giva Freebert, Beverly is already on the administration, and they have names in multiple places, and that's wonderful. Thank you for the the participation. What I want to do is I want to try to get as many people in, not double on committees, but have more people working on these committees. So first of all, I want to acknowledge Kathy Carey, and she's been a former volunteer on infrastructure. She's done a wonderful job, and I will appoint her. And I want to appoint Patrick McGurk and Paul Paparella.
I would second that.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Sorry?
Was second? Okay, sorry. Okay.
I think John seconded that. That was a motion by Steve, a second by John for Kathy Carey, Patrick McGurk, and Paul Paparella for the Infrastructure Committee. Roll call vote, please.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye, as well. Motion carries 5-0. Welcome to that committee, everyone. I appreciate your volunteering. We have a safety committee, public safety committee next. Don't see hands up. Give you a second here. Robert Glazer has his hand up for this.
Okay.
And his name is under so this is not his first time showing interest.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Robert. Go ahead.
Excellent. So my name is actually Robert Glasser, pronounced Glasser, but that's okay. So I have a really big interest in safety. I'm actually one of only a few thousand in the United States, a certified safety professional, CSP designation. I have an environmental consulting company that I've had for about 25 years. I've also worked as a director and manager of emergency preparedness and safety and environmental health and safety at hospitals in California for about the last 10 or 11 years. So I'm also currently serving as chairman of DPAC. I would like to be on the safety committee so there's some synergy, there's some cohesiveness, and there's no duplication of efforts. And that way the safety committee, the public safety committee knows what DPAC's doing and vice versa. I think that's important. Again, I have a huge interest in safety, and I love Bear Valley Springs. I don't want to see anything happen to it. I don't want to ever see anybody get hurt. Basically try to reduce our injury rates to at or as close to zero as we can get.
Thank you, Mr. Glasser, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
It's okay. It happens a lot.
You should have spelled it properly. I'm sorry. Questions for Mr. Glasser? Or is it Dr. Glasser?
No, it's just Mr. Glasser or just Robert.
All right, got it. Questions for Mr. Glasser?
Well, just a comment. Welcome aboard, Robert.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Right. Next hand. Thank you, Mr. Glasser. Kara Cooper.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really interested in public safety and safety in general for employees and everything. My background at where I worked, we were doing aircraft interior flammability testing. So I was working with FAA and a bunch of other groups. So, and we also had to take OSHA training. So I do have quite a bit of background in safety. Any questions?
Thank you, Kara. Questions for Kara? I don't hear any. Thank you so much for that experience and volunteering.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right. One more hand, I think, Christy.
Okay, Jiva.
Hello again. Just want to emphasize my interest in this committee. In the aerospace field, we had to deal with safety of pilot's life, safety of life for everyone, safety of tests, being a material review board engineer, had to look at all those things. OSHA, like she was saying earlier, a lot of safety training. So the thing with pilots, you just got to keep going till you get all the right answers and make sure we have 100% safety as best as we can. So I'm pretty thorough at those kind of things. So I appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiva. Thank you. Questions for Jiva? Don't hear any. I think this committee is chaired by Terry Quinn.
It is.
To proceed with appointments, sir.
I move the board of directors appoint Jim Nelson, Robert Glasser, and Jiva Frevert with Kara Cooper as an alternate to serve on the Public Safety Committee until March 2023 or until a successor is named.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Right, motion by Terry, second by Steve. Roll call vote, please.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye, as well. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much, everyone. That's our last committee, right?
It is.
Yes.
Wonderful. That concludes action item 8 Alpha. We'll go to 8 Bravo. Approve purchase of rock grizzly from Blue Line Enterprises, Inc. for roads and water divisions in the amount of $25,086.31. Take it away, Bill.
Mr. President, members of the board, as you may know, over the years, there's been a collection of concrete, asphalt debris around what is the transfer station site, and part of our rehabilitation and redesign has been the intent to clean it up as staff's been undertaking that. Come to realize the extent of it is pretty significant. Certainly our friends at the county look forward to us cleaning it up. We certainly have seen comments or heard comments from the public about the, I'll say, unsightliness. So as we've moved forward to kind of tackle that project, the realization that because the concrete or asphalt and the clean dirt is all intermingled, as we go to dispose of it, if we don't make an effort to sort and clean it, i.e. Keep the clean dirt and only get rid of the concrete or asphalt, etc., the costs of disposal will be, I'll say, astronomical, but certainly much more significant, estimated at 60 to 70% of the material is dirt that we could reuse throughout the community. So, and I'll just answer this up front. There had been a question as to whether we had gone through a process for obtaining quotes or whether this was a sole source. We did do that for both for this item and for the next item of the roller. So, but we haven't included all of those materials for the board. We've only included those that we've reviewed and made a recommendation as to the selection. And in both cases, it's the lowest price, but it does the job for us. In this case, we're talking about a rock grizzly, it's been called. And this wasn't in our CIP, but we'd like to acquire it and be able to begin and continue to make progress on getting rid of materials as we can. So we would recommend that the board approve the purchase. We're going to split our costs between the roads and the water. Those are the areas that generate the materials. And the price is $25,000, $25,086 and 31 cents. And if you have any questions, we're prepared to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Do we have any questions via email or by hands up from the public?
We do not.
Thank you. Any questions from staff? Additional comments from staff? Hearing none, let's go to the board. Director Grace.
Yes, Bill, just can you explain a little bit more? It looks like a significant savings if we move forward with this in terms of the handling of the material. Can you explain a little bit more how that savings is manifest and what the process is and why it's so expensive and why are we saving money in the future?
Sure. Well, as the board or the public may know, but the residents do pay a tax to get rid of their waste, but we do not. So when we bring a truckload of material or debris, we are charged for it. So part of the computations in here include, and the bulk of it is, the disposal costs at the landfill. So that's where we would incur the greatest costs, and as a result, because we're cutting out 70% of the weight, that's where we'd achieve the greatest savings.
And is this largely dirt, as you indicated? Is this spoils from, for example, if they go out and cut a section of street and repair a pipe that's just brought back and intermingled, and this Grizzly will sort all of that out?
You are spot on, Director Grace. Yes. So as we go out, and I think in our reports, I think it was estimated that each time we make a water repair, we get about 5 yards of spoils. Those come back to us, and over the years have just accumulated and accumulated.
Gotcha.
Including, concrete. And then unfortunately, and we are hopeful that our fencing project will eliminate this, but our public has taken it to dispose of their materials back there too. And we are not a disposal site. It's not permitted for that. It's frowned upon. And so we do want to get rid of it.
Okay. Thank you. That helps. I had nothing more, Honorable President.
Thank you, Director Grace. Director Jensen.
That pretty much answered all my questions. I was concerned that this was basically an item that was going to be used to eliminate what's there, but it sounds like it's going to have use after the fact.
Yes.
Well beyond that. So
yes, indeed.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Good confirmation. Director Quinn.
I looked at the Blue Line videos, and they look very interesting. Looking at the picture on the estimate, it appears we have I don't recall the exact wording that they use, but there's obviously a rough grid where larger pieces will be bounced off and the smaller pieces will fall between the larger bars. And we also have, looks like a finer screen. I guess there would be a use for that at times. I'm wondering, it's going to be fun for this guy who's running the front end loader to be dumping this stuff and then piling up the good dirt someplace and putting all the rock junk someplace else. Have we made any assumptions on how much time it's going to take for somebody to be doing this, or is this going to be casual labor when somebody's got free time?
I'll defer to Larry. I think part of what's in my head as I look at this, directors, is you'll see the estimated cost of removal at approximately $400,000, and that, with this equipment we can reduce that down to about $146,000. That still, I think, envisions a fair amount of work. We're going to have to, I think, make some plans for how to attack this. So I think in my mind, and Larry can give you his, but as we can, we will begin to attack probably those areas that are outside of what will be the fencing first, so that we can clean those up. As time allows, given all of the other workloads, we will work to make progress. And the amount of time we can devote in this year or the next fiscal year or the following fiscal year, hopefully we can make some better plans on that. But as long as we have the equipment, when we do have time, I expect that we'll be using that time to tackle this. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, and we're not under any time guidelines at this point from county.
No, I would say as I've talked with them, I think recognizing we're making efforts, I think they're pleased with that in and of itself. And so as long as we're making some improvement and some progress, I think they'll be satisfied.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Director Quinn. Vice President Roberts.
Yeah, just a comment. I'm happy that we're making this move to acquire equipment that we can use not only now for the solid waste area, but at the transfer station, but also ongoing. You can't you can't be efficient without proper equipment. And this is a nice piece of equipment. And so I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Vice President Roberts. I'm also in favor. I looked at some videos too online. It was pretty cool. Not being from construction, I had to see one of these in action. And I'm thinking it's only going to be clean once in its life. After that first load, it's never going to be clean again. And I'm thinking maybe people are interested in being the person to drop that first load on this piece of heavy duty equipment. And I put in $20 to be the first one to drop on. All kidding aside, go ahead, Bill.
I was just saying, oh, a fundraiser.
Yeah, a fundraiser to drop the first load on it.
There you go.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to get this thing rolling.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Directors approve the purchase of the Rock Grizzly in the amount of $25,086.31 and authorize the necessary budget adjustments.
I'll second.
I think Terry just chimed in first. I got a motion by Steve, second by Terry. Christie, roll call.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Hahn.
Also aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everyone. Item C8, Charlie, approve purchase of roller compactor from Kaweah Lift Inc. for Roads Division in the amount of $49,720.98. Mr. Mallon.
Mr. President, members of the board, another acquisition of some much needed equipment. This is an item that has been in our budget. It was approved as a part of the capital outlay for this current budget year. As you saw in the staff report, our existing equipment is from 1987. I know they've had some challenges. One of the things that I'm getting a little more acquainted with is the air quality requirements and the total amount that our organization can have. That is another reason to change out this piece of equipment with something newer, is to continue to make progress with our fleet towards being compliant or remaining compliant with air quality standards. As you may recall, part of what we did last year was to acquire the asphalt trailer that keeps the asphalt warm. And with the roller, I'm confident that part of what we all will be seeing will be jobs that are better and longer lasting, because we'll be using warm asphalt and we'll get it a good roll and or compaction onto it. So I know staff's done their work to go through. We did go about getting the bids from various vendors. This was staff's selection. It was the cheapest of those, including Sourcewell, which for our new members, you may not know, but that's a joint powers authority that we can purchase through, and they do all of the pre-work of putting out equipment, materials, I want to say professional services. And they basically get all the bidding done, and then if you buy through them, you've satisfied the requirements. This actually isn't that. That was a higher price. So I would recommend approval as presented, and we stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Mallon. I don't see any hands up in the public. Any further comments or questions by staff? Probably not. Board, Director Grace.
Yes, thank you, Honorable President. Bill, I know it's hard to look into the crystal ball with regard to CARB, but any idea how long this equipment will remain compliant? Again, we don't know what kind of directives they're going to come up with in the near future, but
I
do
really
we feel like this is going to get a significant lifespan from an air quality standpoint?
Larry may have a better handle on that. As I said, I'm beginning to learn about that particular thing. It's not been and I've dealt with as much. So I'm learning. All I can say is I know we make a pretty good stride when we change out something that's a 0 for, I think this one is a 4. So that's
this one's a tier 4 final.
Pardon me?
Tier 4 final, you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there any, just out of curiosity, was there any consideration, or is there even such an animal that would be a hydrogen or any other low emitting engine? I don't, again, for this equipment, I don't know if such a thing even exists, but.
Larry, do you have an answer of that level of research?
I do actually. It's far and few between with the heavy duty equipment. However, in the future, I believe propane will probably be an answer to that.
Okay. Good deal. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Grace. Director Jensen?
I have no questions.
Director Quinn?
I have no questions.
Vice President Roberts?
Well, just another comment. Those that had been around for a while, we were doing only cold patches, and they were tearing up in just a matter of months, and they have to keep going back and patching. And we got the heat trailer last year, and having a proper roller. I mean, when we put these patches down, it's much more efficient, and they will last, for eons. So it's the right thing to do, and I fully support that.
Thank you, Vice President Roberts. I have no additional comments. Let's have a motion to get this thing rolling.
Honorable President, I would move the Board of Directors approve the purchase of a new roller compactor from Kaweah Lift Incorporated in the amount of $49,720.98.
I second the motion.
Motion by Director Grace, second by Vice President Roberts. Roll call vote, please, Christy.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Hahn.
Aye. That motion carries 5-0. Item 8, Delta authorized the general manager to execute a contract with Bakersfield Well and Pump Company in the amount of $47,260 to complete rehabilitation of well number 32. Mr. Malinan again.
President, members of the board, this is the second phase of the rehabilitation for well 2. In our budget, we had budgeted for about $162,000 for both the well 32 and well 31. So some of our major valley potable water wells. And over the years, they had declined significantly in their production. Well 32 has already had the first phase of the rehabilitation done, and we I think learned some lessons as we had rehabilitated the couple of lake fill wells about what it takes to go, and you have to pull the pumps, pull the motors, then you have to video tape the well and the casing going down to understand what the problem is, and then you have some options for treatment. So this one has already gone through that level of work, and we're ready now to put in a new pump and a new motor. And in this case, one of the things that will be an improvement is a variable frequency drive motor. So they're more efficient. They have a gradual start. You may be familiar with some. When the power comes on, boom, there's a jolt. The VFDs start off slower and kind of gain the momentum up to the desired horsepower. And so this is an example, talking about the other two items, where we're staying with the vendor, because if we tried to select someone else, they would be going back and wanting to duplicate the video and the analysis component of the first stage of the rehabilitation. So we've had good luck with Bakersfield and want to get them in to finish this one, and then we'll be looking to get 31 as well. And with that, I think Will has estimated we'll pick up about 400 gallons per minute. That's the hope here, and they'll do as part of the process, they'll do some testing and things, but we would recommend that the board approve of the agreement and contract with Bakersfield Well for well number 32.
Thank you, Bill. We've got no hands in the public. Additional from staff? Probably not. Director Grace, the floor is yours.
I didn't have any questions per se, but just I definitely support any move to enhance productivity of our wells and also increase our dependence from outside agencies in the provision of water. So I definitely support this. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Director Grace. Director Jensen?
I have no questions or comments.
Thank you, sir. Director Quinn?
No questions, thank you.
Vice President Roberts?
No comments. I'm in favor of this.
Yeah, me too. This gets us going. It gets us off less Cummings Valley water and more Bear Valley water. So that's a cost savings for our residents. Right, let's have a motion.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Directors authorize the general manager to execute a contract with Bakersfield Well and Pump Company in the amount of $47,260 to complete rehabilitation of well number 32.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice President Roberts, second by Director Jensen. Christie, roll call vote.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item. Was there something else there, Bill?
No, just a thank you.
Right. Item 8, Echo, adopt ordinance number 21-254, amending section 1-5-10 Charlie of Chapter 5, Board of Directors of Title I, Administration of the District Code to remove the Communications Committee from the list of standing committees. Ms. McEwen.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is the second reading of the proposed ordinance that was introduced last February 11th at the last meeting. This ordinance will eliminate the Communication Committee as a standing committee as recommended by the committee itself and approved by the board. Once adopted, the staff will complete the required publication and posting requirements. The ordinance will take effect in 30 days. And with that, we recommend the adoption of the ordinance and here for any questions.
Thank you, Christy. I don't see any hands in the public. Staff, this floor is for other staff members. No. Director Grace.
Nothing for me, sir. Thank you.
Right. Director Jensen.
Nothing, sir.
Director Quinn.
No, nothing.
Vice President Roberts.
Nothing.
Yeah, we've been working on this for a little while, and Megan's just doing an outstanding job. So this committee is not needed. Let's have a motion.
Okay, I move the Board of Directors adopt ordinance number 21. Oh, I'm sorry, Terry, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take it. I move the Board of Directors adopt ordinance number 21-254, amending section 1-5-10, parentheses C of Chapter 5, Board of Directors of Title I, Administration of the District Code.
I'll second.
A motion by Director Quinn, a second by Director Grace. Christie, roll call.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts.
Aye.
President Han.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, Foxtrot adopt resolution 20/21-22, authorizing the opening of a bank account with Bank of Sierra. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, President Han. As you all are likely already aware, Union Bank recently closed its Tehachapi branch on March 5th. We've had our checking account with Union Bank since 2012, and staff now desires a new bank to where we can submit our deposits locally and not have to take the trip to Bakersfield. Staff created a questionnaire for banking services to try to obtain and ensure that the services needed by the district could be satisfied, as well as estimate the costs of each bank. The questionnaire was sent to the two banks with local branches, that was Bank of the West and Bank of the Sierra. Both banks submitted their responses and both are able to provide all the services needed by the district. Bank of the West's fees amounted to an estimated $703 each month based on the transactions that we on average conduct monthly. Bank of the Sierra indicated that our checking account with them would qualify under their public funds category and would be exempt from monthly bank analysis fees. When we compare that to what the district currently pays to Union Bank at about $1,600 per month, the district anticipates savings of about $19,000 annually if we were to open our account with Bank of the Sierra. Upon authorization and submitting the paperwork, we estimate or hope to have a account open within 1 to 2 weeks, and then we'd work on the transition and phasing out of all of the services over the next 60 to 90 days. And with that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Questions from public? I don't see hands. Director Grace, there probably are no other staff comments, which is good.
I would just say, Hamid, great job in sourcing this, and the savings is really compelling, and I think this is a great move. Not something we chose, certainly, with the closing of the other branch, but given the opportunity, this is a great effort to save some money and hopefully get good service out of Bank of Sierra. So again, great job to Hamid and staff who participated in that. And that's all I had.
Director Jensen.
I have nothing.
Director Quinn.
I have nothing.
Vice President Roberts.
I just want to echo what Director John Grace said. As always, Hamid, you and your staff just exceed everything that all the expectations. Thank you very much.
And I second those comments as well from Director Grace and Vice President Roberts. Let's have a motion to get this new bank account open.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 20/21-22 authorizing the opening of a bank account with Bank of the Sierra.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Roberts, second by Director Jensen. Christie.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, golf, accept monthly investment report as of January 31st, 2021. Mr. Jones, I assume this is where we're going to put all that savings.
Yes, thank you, President On. The report before you is the monthly investment report with the balances as of January 31st. It includes a balance of $7.1 million in our investment accounts and another $148,000 in our operating accounts, and that's a total of $7.3 million. Compared to the balance at the end of December, that's a reduction of $139,000, and that's just a result of normal district operations. On the following page is just further detail that breaks down those balances by our various funds, and then kind of the pro rata share amongst the different investment and operating accounts. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I don't see any hands up in the public. Director Grace?
I had no questions, sir.
Thank you, sir. Director Jensen?
No questions, sir.
Thank you, sir. Director Quinn?
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Roberts?
I'm good. Thank you.
And I'm good. Christie, not Christie. You can't make a motion. Let's have a motion from the board instead.
Oh, come on.
Board?
Looking for a motion to approve.
We don't have anything on the screen, so we can't see it.
As I approve, I need to see what I'm reading, so.
I've got it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I move the Board of Directors accept the monthly investment report as of January 31st, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by Quinn, second by Grace. Christie, now it's your turn.
Director Grace,
Aye.
Director Jensen,
Aye.
Director Quinn,
Aye.
Vice President Roberts,
Aye.
President Han.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 9 on our agenda is board comments. Director Grace, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Honorable President. I would just say thank you so much to all the varied participants we had in our committee volunteering. Just a great, in my opinion, a great group of residents and high qualifications. I read through even those that didn't affect my particular committees, read through every one of the CVs, resumes, emails, and just a lot of great qualified people we have here in the Valley. And beyond their qualifications, again, very much appreciate them stepping out and wanting to participate in the board activity and participate in the business of the Valley. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you very much, Director Jensen.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Really appreciate everyone stepping forward and helping out. Thank you all.
I agree with that too. Director Quinn.
I can follow up on what John and Charles have said, but I really pray that sooner or later, hopefully sooner, we'll start having in-person meetings. I think they're far more effective than these detached Zoom meetings, but that's all I have.
Thank you, Director Quinn. I hope for that too. This is getting the work done, but it's just, it's not the same. Vice President Roberts.
Yeah, just thank everybody for you wanting to be a part of this organization. I appreciate the participation.
Right, I second that as well. Staff reports, I have no comments to add. Staff reports item Bravo under number 9, department heads, starting with finance. Director, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, President Hahn. The item before you are the finance activity reports for period 7 or January 2021. I do not have anything significant to point out, but I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. I don't see hands in the public. Director Grace?
No questions. Thank you.
Director Jensen?
No questions, sir.
Director Quinn?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Vice President Roberts?
I don't have questions at all on this.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, for that excellent report. Public Works, item number 2. Is that Don?
Who's going to report?
Bill.
Apologies for that. I was getting ready for my other one. So members of the board, you have our report. We stand ready to answer any questions that you may have.
Great. Got Kathy, Christy in the public. Kathy Kinnear first.
Okay, Kathy.
Hello, thank you, everyone. I really enjoy seeing these reports. I think they're very well done and can give residents an idea. You know, sometimes we only drive on our certain streets, and so everything else is invisible to us. And so I think, you know, with the addition of the photographs and the brief explanations, they're very helpful. My regret is that they're buried in the board report. And I think I may have mentioned this before, but I'd like to mention it again. I would like to see them, and maybe they are, separately on the website so that people could just say, I want to know what the public safety report is, and just go there. Christy, I should have asked you this instead of wasting everybody's time, but is that possible?
We've heard the comment. I've made my note, and we'll talk with Megan about what we can do.
If I may, they are already up on the website and have been for several months. There is a public works page and a PD page.
Okay.
And each of those have staff reports.
Great, because they're great reports. So thank you very much. I'm behind and checking it out.
Thank you, Kathy. Another hand, Jiva Freever.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Kathy. And I had seen where the staff report was on the Public Works, but what I noticed last week when I looked at them both, Friday it looked like for the same month, there may have been two separate reports and one was a subset that's being provided here. I'm not sure about that, Megan, but it looked like it was slightly different. I didn't go back and relook at it when I saw that. And then the final thing, I know, Bill, you're taking this under consideration, the final part with the transfer station where it lists the trash and the roll-offs for manure and green waste and all that. Hope to see that in a graph format that shows what we're doing from month to month, and also any illegal dumping reported there, kind of like your little police report there, you know, any incidences, so we can see that we're improving there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiva. I don't see any other hands in the public. Director Grace, comments on Public Works Department?
No comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Jensen?
No comments, sir.
Director Quinn?
No comment.
Vice President Roberts?
No comments.
And for me, Public Safety Report. I think that brings our awesome chief, Tim Millianson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. You have my public safety staff report for the month of February, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. I don't see any hands in the public. Director Grace?
Chief, I'd just like to say I've personally been seeing, it looks like, at least in my neighborhood, more traffic stops and more attention to speeders. So I'd just like to say thank you and keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Director Grace, thank you. We will.
Jensen?
It looks like you don't have anyone, any candidates now? Did they drop out or what? For the open position?
No, that's correct. We don't have anyone in backgrounds at the moment. The last person, I know the last report we did, and in the last numerous reports we've had, I have reported that we had a candidate in backgrounds. And as it were, they were deemed disqualified and were not suitable to be hired.
Okay. Can you give an idea of how much it costs to get someone from recruitment to backgrounds?
Well, that's a little involved. It depends greatly upon where the candidate is coming from, because the background investigator has to actually go to that department. And if they get far enough not along in the process, the background investigator actually has to go to his neighborhood, knock on doors where he lives. So it varies. I can give you an estimate of what we have paid in the past on the low end and what we've paid on the high end, if that would help.
Okay, that would help. Thank you.
Director Jensen, anything else?
No, nothing else.
Thank you, sir. Director Quinn?
Good evening, Chief. I don't want to sound like a ghoul, but 901H, you have one incident. Was that a body in a home, or was that found someplace, may I ask?
Yeah, we had a similar question last month about this, Director Quinn. It was in a home, and in fact, that wasn't the only one for the month. As a reminder, the calls for service that are listed on page 2 of my report, that is basically a cut and paste version of what I get from the Kern County Sheriff's Communications Center for all the activity that we're involved in. And so I just cut and paste that and put it directly in there. And as you see, the 901H call that we had was a death investigation. We actually had a couple of others. They just didn't start out that way. If you look down in suspicious circumstance, that could have been another one of them. I think we had 3. And so if someone calls dispatch and reports that they haven't seen their neighbor in some time, and an officer is dispatched, that comes out as a suspicious circumstance normally, unless somebody has actually gone in and found the person. So yes, that's what that is, and we actually had more than what is actually listed on here.
Okay. Was it just now occurs to me, was district police involved in the person who was lost hiking, I guess, down into Sycamore Canyon or something? It got written up in Bear Tracks this year. Were our people involved in that at all? I know
Yeah,
Sheriff.
they were. The reporting party first called the dispatch, and a Bear Valley officer was dispatched to the scene and sort of set up a impromptu or a quick command post from where he requested sheriff's helicopter, sheriff's search and rescue, and then actually where ultimately, if I'm talking about the same one you are, which I believe I am, the one where BVSA Rocco, BVSA Ranger Rocco went off on foot and ended up finding with the helicopter's help, ended up finding the missing hiker and led him back. So yeah, we were greatly involved in that one.
Okay. It's one of those feel-good stories, I guess, on balance, huh?
Yeah, very much so. It was a great example of how interagency assistance gets together and you solve a problem through help with other agencies.
Sure. Thanks, Chief.
Welcome.
Thank you, Director Quinn. Vice President Roberts.
I have nothing because it's always great. Thank you.
And I have nothing for you as well. Chief, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Glad to have you serving our community.
Thank you, Mr. President.
General Counsel report, Don Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening, but just a reminder, we will adjourn to closed session. We have one item at the end of the meeting to review. Thank you.
You're just full of good news, aren't you? Meetings longer than we thought. Good.
Briefly.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm kidding. No hands in the public. Director Grace, anything for General Counsel?
No, sir. Thank you.
Director Jensen.
Nothing, sir.
Director Quinn.
Nothing.
Vice President Roberts.
Nothing.
You got off easy. I don't have anything. General Manager report. Take it away, Mr. Mellon.
Mr. President, members of the board, first item, just kind of an update from our weekly teleconference with Kern County Emergency Operations Center. The COVID statistics are improving, so that is really good news. In a number of the metrics, we would be eligible for the next lower tier, purple, red, orange, yellow. The red tier where you can get some more things opened up, but not all metrics required for that have been met yet in the county, but it is looking better. Did hear that outdoor events will be allowed to reopen April 1st. That information ought to come from the county, but that is what I heard and made note of. So those things are encouraging. The wastewater treatment plant permit, we've finished the ephemeral creek study and we're submitting that to the regional water board, and hopefully that will be accepted and become a part of what would then be a change in our permit from an NPDES to WDR, just to use all those nice abbreviations for everybody. But the effect is that it will give us a little more flexibility. We'll have some additional costs, but we hope to be able to cover those with our operations. On the tree grant, and I get to, how do you let me play posting on the screen, please? So I can post some things, Christy or Hamid.
All right, let me stop. Okay, I think you can go on now.
All righty, so I'll give it a try. As you know, we've been working to get our forester and our logger, and more importantly, our logger going. This is the picture now of task order 1. We have actually split it up into a 1A. You'll see these couple of parcels on the north, and maybe this map is really tough, but this piece, this piece, this piece, and then down here. And then we have a 1B. And the reason for that, let me see if I can figure out how to share again. Stop share. And then share. Where is my... the reason for that is here, this is the 1A, and this is 1B. Within our grant, which is a $1.26 million grant, we can ask for 1/4 of that as an advance. And what happened was the Anderson parcel here, which is the largest of all of the parcels in the entire project area, actually, as they looked at it, it qualified for a higher treatment. There's more density. There were more dead trees, and unfortunately, even more recent mortality in that area. And so that added the costs. So we had to kind of pair. These were all going to be in that first phase, but we've had to kind of split it up. We did submit for the advance, which is $256 and some more dollars, enough to cover this. And it's already been approved. So for us, we're going to now learn how long it takes for us to receive those funds. Meanwhile, the logger will be up there moving ahead on these properties when weather permits, when things are dry enough, etc. And then we'll come back and we'll take these other parcels and get those done. And then, so it is a little bit fluid. It's not cast in stone, but we are moving ahead. And we've gotten all the paperwork done with notices to proceed, etc. So if you have any questions on that particular item, I can maybe answer them now as I know how to put pictures back up. If not, appreciate everyone's attendance and participation in our strategic planning session. I think that was, and that was yesterday, I think that was a real great start. We have our second on March 16th, which is a Tuesday. And then obviously when we come out of that, staff will have more to bring back to the board for subsequent review and approval. The BVSA board approved the amenity card RFID project from their end, and they do have the bulk of the costs. We've seen the estimates for us. It's in the $5,000 neighborhood. Theirs is more significant because they're replacing or will replace all of the amenity cards. So that stock of card really adds to the costs. We are beginning to put together our 21 and 22 budget. We are proposing that we will have an additional early public hearing at the beginning of our process. The intent there is to solicit and hear public input, and the board can take that into consideration as we go about crafting the budget. Our probably most significant component of the budget, in my opinion, this year will be our 20-year capital improvement program. So we're going to be doing that across the board. I think that'll tie in really well with our strategic planning as well. We have been informed that the CARES Act funding, if you recall, we received $97,000 through the CARES Act. We used that for our mobile computing units and things. There's an opportunity to receive another $25,000. Hamid, if that's been approved, let us know, but we're confident we can get another $25,000 because we have eligible costs. Our regional urban water management plan, cooperative with our other neighbors and Cummings Valley, we've submitted all our data, so that project's moving forward. We've completed our first internal safety inspection. So as the board may know, we created a safety committee of employees. We've initiated a program to have all of our facilities inspected as somewhat of a pre-OSHA level inspection, so that we can not only make sure that our work environments are safe, but I think it brings a greater awareness to all of us of the need to pay attention to those things so they don't become a safety hazard. You may not have heard, but our police vehicle that's been approved is delayed until late summer. Just that's universal in the Chevrolet world. So the wild pig permit, hopefully people are aware that if they are suffering from or had their property damaged by wild pigs, we do have the ability through Chief Melanson getting a permit through Fish and Wildlife to go out and deal with that varmint. And so we're on top of it as best we can be. We're not hunting them, but we could respond if we get the call, and it'll be dependent on our availability, obviously, to get out there. I did have an opportunity to visit with our DPAC the other evening. I thought it was a really, really good meeting. Part of my efforts with them was to stress wildfire preparedness. And so I'm hopeful with that group, we may pick up and do some more work on that. And I'm looking forward to doing that with them. One of the things I'm looking for from the board, as Daniel Haggard and I talk about projects out there, replacement of all of our street signs, those that tell you what the intersection is. We can do that, and I can't remember, Daniel, I think it was $20,000, I'll say, to do all of the intersections. I think there were 180 of them. And with that, we would change out those signs to be reflective, which I think is a great idea. My question to the board, and I don't know how you might want to handle it, but right now we have brown signs with yellow letters. And if we're going to change out all of those intersections with something reflective, do we want to keep those colors? Is there something about them? I don't know, just from a historical or whatever perspective. So I posed that question to the board, and I guess I posed it to the public too. Do we want to do anything different? If so, why so? And if not, okay, but we'll try to, there's not a rush on it, but I think it's a good idea to get going, and so I just posed that question. You may have seen in the Public Works report that we did get well 39 abandoned properly and permitted. That was the hole that was at the entrance to the transfer station, and it was something that was discovered during the development of the new layout there, and it's taken us a while to get back to it, but that's been done. Also, we're going to follow up with OSHA training for our supervisors and our public works employees. So we'll get them some OSHA 30 for our supervisors and some OSHA 10. That means either 30 hours or 10 hours of training to, again, just continue on and enhance our awareness and understanding of safety and environments and proper procedures. Lastly, I want to try to answer, because I can, some of Jiva's questions. The first one, I'm not familiar with the gadfly's comment, so I can't do that one. However, I did get from Megan, and that's the beauty of some of this instant information, a note that our videos on our website do already include and have the number of views. So currently that's on there, and we will continue to talk about the availability for chatting on our website. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Malinan. There is a hand up in the public. Christy.
Jiva?
Yes, hello, thank you. And thank you, Bill, for addressing those questions. and for putting up the 2 sheets, a spreadsheet in particular for area 1A and B of the tree grant. And I know, appreciate the copy of the contract with Arrowhead that listed it not to exceed 960,000 or whatever the number was. So is that based upon you having the spreadsheet for the remaining phases or properties? And would that be available yet?
The first part of that is no. If you look at our grant agreement, and I don't know if you've had that, or Megan, where it might
Yes,
be.
I do.
You'll see in there that our line item for the logging is the 960. So as we make, application, we've got to keep that in mind. So that's where that number comes from. The remaining part of your question, and I'm a little unsure that we can post things yet, because it is kind of fluid. And even in the last couple of weeks, we've seen some changes as we preliminarily take a look at it at a forester level, but then we do have to have some concurrence between our contractor logger and our forester as to what this particular parcel and job is going to be. And so that's kind of what happened in this phase 1, or they call them task orders, was that we saw a change. So we have that general area. I think there's a general idea, but I'm a little reluctant to say we're going to do this one and it's going to be at this time, etc. We certainly can release and share with you that particular 1A and B map and the spreadsheet that goes with it. But beyond that, I think it's not clear. It's not finalized.
But as you said earlier, that based upon what you have seen, whether it's finalized or not, it looks like the funds will be used up before all the properties can be cleared that want to be, whether they're high or low. You're seeing that pattern.
Well, I would tell you that we're very close to what we envisioned when we made the grant application. So we had, as I recall, about 300 acres. We had estimated about $3,000 per acre. So we're pretty close. I would say the area that we kind of set up was pretty good sized. Obviously, within that area, we'd already seen requests or exemption forms people sent in, kind of, which was their hey, I'd like to have something done on my property. The focus becomes where those dead trees are the thickest, where that wildfire risk is the greatest. If you lived in that 3430 tract,
3461.
thank you very much. Then you could apply. And what we've tried to say all along was, we're going to be looking at and focusing on kind of irrespective of the property lines, but once a contractor steps foot, we've got to get their approval. We're looking at where the need is the greatest. Not all of those properties are a part of that, but they've made an application. So yes, we had all of a sudden 500 acres of property that kind of tallies up, and I wouldn't expect us to be able to treat all of those. So I hope that answers the question. Probably inherently, because the area boundaries were larger, not everybody in there would be able to get treated, and probably not everybody in there really needed to get treated. They might have had a couple of dead trees. I'm not up there, but I'm speculating a little bit. And the focus is really up at the higher elevations where the trees are thicker and the death is greater, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then I'm assuming that the strategic planning session will be posted once you have the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. You mean, are we talking about videos?
Yes, the video from the Zoom meeting.
We're talking about an agenda. Agenda will be posted, certainly.
Okay, but
I haven't talked to anybody about the video, so I guess It should be.
Okay, because I thought that was a very positive perspective of the efforts that you're doing that would be really beneficial for many people who are making comments to see what you guys are thinking and how you're thinking through the processes. And especially when you were looking at reducing our water dependency upon Cummings Valley, and the other comment that was made is not to be stuck with the sod farms versus the vineyards. I think, was that you, Greg? I'm not sure who made that comment, you know, looking at opportunities there. I think that was very proactive, that it would be good for people to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiva. Correct questions or comments for the general manager reports from the Honorable Board Director Grace?
I have nothing, sir. That was very comprehensive and much appreciated, Bill. Thank you.
Director Jensen.
I have no questions, sir.
Director Quinn.
Bill is relatively new in the Valley, and so he can be forgiven for his comment about street signs, but he does not have the reverence for Bear Valley Brown that most of we old timers have, and he needs to be educated in that respect. We're not going to have blue and silver street signs. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Quinn.
President Roberts.
Yes, I have two things. First of all, having to do with the street signs, it would be nice to get some samples. I mean, the brown and yellow, and I guess the yellow would be reflective, or it would all be reflective. I don't know, but you know, that's kind of the what Bear Valley is all about. And I'd like to see some samples. I'd like to see the brown and yellow sample particularly, and some other kind of samples to see if it even makes sense. But I agree with Terry that you know, it's the brown and yellow belongs here, but we should see what it looks like, you know, in terms of a reflective one before we just say something. We could get some samples made. So I would suggest that to you guys. And item number 2, now that we have the, you know, the well decommissioned at the transfer station, the entrance to the transfer station now needs to be asphalt put down. It is, you know, our residents does not deserve that entryway. We need to have it asphalted, done properly, and I would suggest that we get that done as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Roberts. I'll weigh in on the signs while we have 13 wonderful members of the public and everyone here. I'm not in love with the brown. I like how it blends in. I'm good with that. There are very few people that have been here as long as Terry Quinn. So I've been here 11 years. But they are very difficult to see during the day, reflective or not, doesn't matter. They blend in with the surroundings. And if they were the normal color of every other street sign I've seen, like green and white, I would not go to the mat to defend that choice. I'll go with the flow here, but the reflectivity is super important. So I'm a big fan of the reflectivity. So thanks everyone for the general manager report and excellent discussion. Future,
just you know, I agree with you, and that's why I'd like to see some samples of whatever color combinations, and also the brown and yellow also. Because it's hard to make a decision unless we have something that we can feel and touch and actually see, you know, and what would be good for the valley. So, you know, I highly suggest that we do that.
I hear that suggestion, and I can picture the colors without holding them in my hand, I guess. So I don't have to see a sample or feel a sample, but I hear you. I hear your point. Great. Item number 10 on our dwindling agenda is future agenda items. I don't think we added any, but I usually turn this over to Christy, and there you go.
Okay, we have our second strategic planning session at 8:30 a.m. on March 16th. And then the solid waste rate study preliminary report will be going to the board on May 13th, tentatively. And also we will have a public hearing on the budget item sometime in the next few months.
Great. Then I think your time's up. I heard a whistle. So that's strategic planning session number 1. I loved it. I thought it was great. I think Patrick Ibarra is an excellent choice for this. And I can't wait for Tuesday morning so we can get that going. So members of the public, it's incredible to watch. This guy works really well. I think that concludes our agenda except for our closed session. So at this time, we will adjourn to closed session. Thanks everyone for attending. Be well, do good.